let's back it up because let's talk about. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I think it's just Yahya Sinwar. Is his
Yeah.
name? Yahya Sinwar. Well, this is kind of an update to just like some Gaza or Palestine Israel news. Before I think we're probably going to spend the bulk of this episode talking about election stuff and dealing with election stuff.
We're very close to election.
So let's do. So we're gonna back it up and talk about Sinwar being killed. He was killed.
Very recently, yeah.
Yeah, just 3 days ago? Let me see. I actually should have. 16th of October. So 2 days ago. We're recording this on Friday the 18th. He was killed on the 16th of October. If you don't know, Yahya Sinwar is he's the new head of Hamas. Essentially, he took over for like the Hamas's government in 2017, and like the total leader of Hamas in August. After Hania was his name. Hania. He was the guy that was assassinated in Iran when he went to go to the inauguration of the new prince.
That was the diplomatic head. The diplomatic head,
political
of Hamas
head. Yeah,
that was trying to negotiate for a ceasefire.
Yeah, so this guy was kind of like the military leader of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar was, but he also took over the political side of things when Hania was killed in July.
Who else is supposed to do it,
Yeah, so he took over. So he had both roles, and then he was actually just killed in Rafah. Yeah, right. Because he was born in Khan Yunis. So he was born in
a refugee camp.
Yeah, he was. He was born in basically a refugee camp as like a Palestinian refugee in Khan Yunis, which is where like a lot of the current genocide is still taking place. He was born in 1962, so he grew up in the system. He was in prison for like 21 years, I think, or 23 years. I forget exactly. He was in prison for a really long time for killing a handful of Palestinians that were accused of collaborating with IDF, and he also killed 2 IDF soldiers. So he basically like killed collaborators, and then got sentenced to prison, 4 life sentences for it. But he got out as a part of a prisoner exchange in 2011. Netanyahu actually was orchestrated a prisoner exchange for an IDF soldier. Well, he was one of the prisoners that was released in that prisoner exchange in 2011. So he didn't finish obviously serving out his multiple consecutive life sentences, and from getting out, he kind of rose through the ranks of Hamas. Became like a pretty powerful leader, and then it was now the actual leader of Hamas, and kind of leading essentially the Hamas war, the militants of the and the Al-Qassam brigades against this current IDF conflict. Even in prison, apparently, he was still like orchestrating and executing like assassinations and executions of like Palestinian collaborators. Even from prison, he had like a
my dude said, "I hate snitches."
Yeah, snitches get stitches.
Dude.
Basically, yeah.
I hate fucking traitors. Traitors are going to be shot on the spot. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the guy is a bit fucking extreme for me, even.
He's a pretty extreme guy.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of his final
Yeah, I did. So I don't know if you guys saw the video, but the video that came out was yesterday.
Yeah.
Was a drone basically flying up into a building and basically finding him with like blood all over his
Yeah, I think at that point he had lost like one of his arms had been cut off or amputated or crushed or something. Yeah. And so he was one armed.
He was hit by a sniper.
Yeah.
He was hit by a sniper. Basically, this drone found him there, just dead.
Yeah. Well, he was alive because he threw a stick at the drone.
Well, sorry, you're right. The drone did not find him dead. He threw a stick at the drone, but later on, when they went to go see if he was there,
they
didn't know who this was. Yeah. He was dead.
Yeah, he had a bullet, gunshot wound to the head, so it's presumed that like he obviously he took a bullet to the head. And yeah, they figured they knew who he was, but they I guess they cut off his finger and like they matched. So there's a photo of him
DNA
dead.
Analysis also through
through dental records. Yeah, so there's a photo of him dead with a gold watch on, and he has all of his fingers on his arm. And then the next photo, the watch is gone and one of his fingers is gone. So one of the IDF soldiers stole his watch and then cut off his finger to like get a DNA test on it. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the aftermath of this is the reason we talk about this one guy being killed is because of what happens next. Well, because this is kind of the military and political leader of Hamas. Well, Hamas issued a statement that says this really doesn't change anything. They're still not going to surrender or give up arms until there's a free and like
just put another guy in charge.
Yeah, put another guy in charge. Until there's a free and liberated Palestine, they're not going to give up anything. And Netanyahu kind of also agreed with that, saying this changes nothing. We're still going to continue killing Palestinians. Like even though they said this was the reason they went in was to stop Hamas.
Well, a lot of people, I mean, President Biden congratulated him. Vice President Kamala Harris
Oh,
congratulated him.
Netanyahu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Netanyahu over this kill, right? And they thought, oh, if we just cut the head off the snake dies. I'm like, you are thinking from a point of a colonizer. You are thinking from a point of the aggressor. You have never been at that physical point of being the defender and the group of people that are trying to survive. Cutting one person's head off is not going to make 70,000 soldiers bow down.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. They will fight to their death. Maybe if you do that to the oppressor, if we killed Netanyahu, that might have been a whole
That
difference.
would probably be enough to have them back off.
That might be a whole different scenario. And so that's they're thinking with their Western liberal so-called liberal democracy mindset, where it's like, oh, there it is. It's like, nah, they're not done, bro. They're just gonna be replaced.
Yep. And then and that's exactly what they've said, but also Netanyahu said the same thing. He says we're going to keep going until all hostages are released. This just changes nothing. It's kind of sad. It's also but there's also been a lot of like outpouring of support from like Hamas saying like this is actually like not demoralizing. It's kind of like invigorating, and it's just like it's kind of emboldened them and raised morale that like this guy martyred himself. It also wasn't intentional. I guess they weren't there to kill him. It was just a happy accident. They found him there. I guess he was kind of cut off, and some tanks rolled in at the wrong time from the building he was staying in Rafah, and it was just like the way it worked out. Like it was an unintentional thing that Israel just happened to stumble upon him. It wasn't like a targeted. They knew he was there, and it was like a coordinated attack or anything.
Gaza is only so big.
Yeah,
you can only get cut off by so many buildings, so many streets.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean we just definitely wanted to mention that. I don't know if you have anything else to kind of comment on that, but before we get to the bulk of what we're going to talk about, which is kind of election updates and a little surprise from me at the end.
I do want to state that watch out for the next few weeks, because Israel will be taking advantage of basically. Here's a Lord of the Rings reference. Towards the end of Return of the King, because Frodo was trying to get to Mount Doom, he's already in Mordor. Sauron's eye is fixed upon them, right? And basically, Aragorn and the rest of the men of the West head over to the Black Gates to make his eye come onto them so they can have free passage. As the elections come up, think of it in that circumstance. Think of it as all news, as all American and Western news and attention goes towards the election of Trump versus Harris, this huge battle that's going on with within the American so-called democracy. Israel will take that. They will take that advantage, and they will lead large incursions into either the West Bank, into Lebanon, into Syria, or completely demolish Gaza.
Yeah.
And so watch out for that. Quote me now, hear me now, quote me later. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Well, just one final note from me too is I read Biden's address, his press release about this, and it was just full of like just the most like heinous lies and stuff about the October 7th, like all the rapes and the beheadings and the kidnappings from done by Hamas, and it's like all of those have been debunked, but Biden is still like pushing this false narrative of like the rapes and stuff, where it's like the only people committing the rape are the IDF, the only people doing the beheading is IDF, like the actual terrorists in all of this is Israel, but like Biden, like yesterday, is still pushing that false narrative.
Yeah, and then turn around and be like, well, after this horrific act of terrorism, we have finally taken out this main target, and there's congratulating Netanyahu, and I'm just like, holy fuck, do you have no fucking political sense?
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up. Do you want to win this election or what? Why would you reiterate these things right now, right before an election? This does not look good to you.
I think they're hoping that this will be a little boost, because it's like the boost, like everyone fucking loved Obama when he killed Osama bin Laden, right? So I think maybe they're trying to think this is a similar thing, right? You kill Sinwar, and maybe like the Dems get a boost for like we're the guy who got him, like the whole Dems did it push.
This is a whole different scenario.
But that's the point, is like they're misreading the optics of this.
They're always misreading the optics.
The people who like aren't voting for Harris because of the genocide aren't going to turn around and vote for Harris because they executed a guy, right? Like,
but that's the thing. A lot of people are biting their tongue and voting for the Democratic Party come November because they rather not get Trump. Yeah. And a lot of these people are biting their tongue because they know what the Democratic Party has done is basically instigated more weapons into a genocide. They are, applauding a genocide. And they're biting their tongue. They're like, fuck it. It's better than goddamn Trump.
Yeah.
And now you're just like reiterating what they don't want to hear. And maybe 5% of them were like, fuck this. Can't do it.
Yeah.
You might have lost like 50,000 voters. 50,000 voters. Hey, man, 10,000 might have been from fucking Pennsylvania. That could have lost you the state. That could have lost you the fucking election. You never. Shut the fuck up. If you want to win, I don't even want you. I don't give a fuck about the Democratic Party. But if you want to win, as from a political standpoint, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy too because like that's speaking of, it's like their transparent ploy. They just announced that they're going to start doing an arms embargo on Israel if Israel doesn't commit to a ceasefire or enact a ceasefire in 30 days. And everyone's like saw right through this, was like, well, this is just trying to curry political points to the left or to the people who are like pro-Palestine or at least like on the fence about the whole thing. Yeah. So it's like the people that would vote
within 30 days would
be after the election. And everyone's like, well, that's a very obvious thing. It's like, this is just
smells fishy
it's
to
just
me.
It's just smoke and mirrors. You can say, oh, we're going to do an arms embargo to Israel in 30 days. It's like, well, yeah, but the election's in 15 days. So like you're just trying to like trick people into thinking that you care about Israel or care about Palestine. So
it's sad. It's sad because like
they think the American electorate is dumb, and I guess most liberals are dumb. So like
to a certain point, but like the people that you are trying to win over, the people that are very heavy pro-Palestine heavy, and that are biting their tongue again to vote for these,
they're gonna see right through that,
and then that's gonna make them vote less for you.
Yeah, it just go back to your point of like it would have been better off if they just hadn't done anything, just if they would have just kept their mouth shut. Yeah.
Just shut your damn mouth.
Politically, it doesn't make any sense. You people are making billions of dollars through campaign donations through these large corporations, and you still can't pay somebody to have some political competence to guide you along a fucking campaign that a fucking high schooler could guide you along.
It's nutty.
Holy shit, man.